Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't watched the other videos I posted, you may want to start back to one of my first videos. The reason I started this YouTube channel, I think there's a few reasons. One is to kind of come into grip with, the cancer that I had when I was little and the scar on my face, and which is still really hard for me to just put out there. And I feel like I don't really have to do that if I'm not comfortable with it. But I like to inspire others to, maybe come face to face with what bothers you, your fears, especially something about your person, your outer shell. We're all going to age. We're all going to go through some kind of traumatic experience, so to say. And with that, comes struggle. For me, I had, cancer when I was 2.5. I was still 2 when I had the cancer was diagnosed. And that's in my previous videos. And I had begun talking about, the challenge of having the scar on my face and, dealing with it and hiding it my whole life. And I still do, like I said, but I'm coming on here to inspire others. And it also helps me. It helps me to find some strength within myself and to keep going. Last time I shared a picture, I was talking about school pictures. They would always have me sit and you had to face a certain way and you had to have your, which I think is really weird. Like, I hate pictures like that now. But I found one when I was 6. So you can kind of just tell here, my eye and everything. Like, you could tell, oh, my teeth, I still have those. I'm grateful I still have those. I'll always keep it real here on my channel. Probably a little too real. I'm a big sharer. I will share. I don't believe in oversharing. I believe you share what you want to share. And for me, when people share their stories, I'm so inspired by real life experiences. They've helped me to see that, change is possible. Growth is possible no matter what you've been through. I've read a couple books, one being Recovery 2.0 by Tommy Rosen, and he was an addict. He went through trauma. I mean, it's such a deep story. He's now a yoga, like a guru, a practitioner, and his story really inspires me. Just the struggles for coming from dark places. And anyways, so these pictures I share because they bothered me. They bothered me a lot when I had to be sitting with my scar showing. This one isn't as bad. I was only 6. I have a couple that are really bad. As I go along and dig them out, I will share them with you. But that also, I still have some, I guess you would call it anger. Like, why would you make me sit that way and post that picture for all my classmates and people to see, and still to this day, I get emotional. So I always get emotional. But I was born fat. I was born a little chunky chunk. I was a very healthy baby. A lot of pictures I look at my mother and everybody were smoking in my face, cigarette here holding the baby with all this smoke blowing up around me. I don't know if I mentioned it in one video. I used to get slapped constantly from digging in the ashtray. And thankfully I never smoked, but I always went back for the cigarettes. My mom used to tell me my hands would be beet red and I just kept going back. And that's the little Aries fire in me, I believe. And the fighter in me, I guess. So I was born healthy, and I just, a lot of my family had cancer. As a matter of fact, both my parents died of cancer. My cousin died of cancer. My grandmother had breast cancer on my mother's side. My grandfather on my father's side had stomach cancer, and that was exactly what my mother had. Here's another picture of us as a family. My father, who was only 76 when he died of lung cancer and skin cancer on his head. My brother is still alive. He's a lot bigger than me now in from this picture, so he's younger, but he's a big boy. Thankfully, he's done well for the most part. And then my mother, she... hard. So my mother... she had a rough life. She raised us hard by herself. My dad was there, but he wasn't there, He worked, he paid his support. They didn't stay together. They didn't stay married. And I watched my mother struggle. I watched her waitress come home from one job, go to another. Um, I don't know if I believe that's why I'm so strong, because my mother was strong, my grandmother was strong, but even my grandmother, she had a hard time with my grandfather. He was a raging alcoholic on my mother's side. My mother was 47 when she started having like just loss of appetite, indigestion, and they thought it was just something, gastrointestinal, and she had a scope and they found stomach cancer, and they went in to remove 3/4 of her stomach, I think it was. We're going back almost 18 years ago. And it was spider. It was spider cancer. So it had wrapped around everything inside of her. And they couldn't do anything. So they sewed her back up, brought her home, tried with all these medications. Things started to look like they were getting better. It was actually a really great time. We thought, wow, we're going to beat this. And it got worse. Her lung collapsed. I'll probably shed a lot of tears here. So if you don't want to see me cry, leave. This is real life shit. And sometimes you wonder how someone who's been through so much shit, lost family, traumatized as a kid, called cancer face, scar face, fucking everything you could think of. And you wonder how somebody is still here trying to inspire others using their own hell life. Through all of my therapy, because yes, I did go to therapy, and I'll get more into that as I go. It didn't turn out that it was from childhood trauma. It was from something else, but that just added to it. It's the will. It's the will to go on, the will to have a good life. I had my daughter when I was young, and I want to give her a good life. She's 28 now, and my son is 12. They're 17 years apart, which is a whole nother story, relationships. When there's a lot of trauma in your life, I believe there's a lot of struggle until you're ready to face it, until you're ready to heal. And it has to be you that wants to heal. It has to be you that wants to do better. It has to be you that wants the change. There's no magic drug. There's no magic therapist. There's no magic at all about it. It's going to be the will, the want to live a good life. And that's what I want. And even all the struggles and challenges that I go through, gone through, face daily, I fall down and I get right back up. I want to keep going. So it's hard to figure out where to carry on with all this. So I'm just probably going to bounce around and continue to put my stories up. And, if they help you, they help you. If they don't, maybe they'll help someone you know. And that's what my whole idea about doing all these videos and starting this channel. So I lost my mother and my father to cancer. My grandmother had breast cancer. She beat it. She did get really sick with COPD. She smoked. My whole family smoked. I never smoked. Never smoked. Everybody smoked and I never smoked. And I hate cigarettes. I hate them. I don't want to be around a smoker. I don't want to smell it. I just don't want it. And I believe I have that right. Let's see. I'm going to be, in April, right now I'm a 44-year cancer survivor. 44 years. And I don't want, to jeopardize that with anything health-wise that I can. So, I think it was really when my dad died 3 years ago that I wanted to be a yoga teacher. I'd found yoga through anxiety and depression. It's going to be really hard to figure out where I want to go, how I want to carry on with this. Because the yoga, I started finding that on Instagram and I thought it was beautiful. I thought the poses were beautiful, and I was like, wow, I want to, do handstands and crow pose and all these arm balances, but the ego gets in the way there, and I was hurting myself, and I started to practice at home yoga. Then I found a local studio, Tree of Life, which is sadly now closed. And I just kept practicing at home. And I practiced and practiced. I signed up for school, and my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer. So I decided to move my dad into my house because I didn't want him to be alone. He was very stubborn, kind of like me. And I moved him in. He decided to come in. He didn't think he wanted to move in with me because it's not easy. And he moved in with me, and sadly he was only alive for a little over a year, I think 14 months. He didn't want to fight the lung cancer because he had COPD as well. He was just not in the best of health, even though he was trying. He didn't want to fight the cancer, so we got hospice, and he came here, and he died here. I watched my dad die. I'm grateful that I had them here as long as I did. My dad was a hard worker. I can still hear him, even as I was here. I'm not going to work today, Dad. I'm staying here with you. He'd be coughing and coughing. And he said, go to work. Go make the money. My mother was a hard worker. My grandmother was a hard worker. And I'm a hard worker. I can say that. I like to work. I like to feel productive. I like to help others. I have a cleaning business. I've been in business for 15 years. I left a tourism job to do that. And I do like to clean. I love my clients. And then I started the yoga business a little over 2 years ago. So where I was going, when my dad got sick and died, when I brought him into my house to live, I had to give up my training. I was just signed up to do my teacher training at East Meets West in Buffalo. And my dad said, if you're going to be here doing all this work, taking care of me, I'm going to pay for your school. When I die, you go to school. So that was an emotional moment as well. So I did what I had to do, what I wanted to do. I wanted to take care of my dad. I wanted to give him the best life possible as he was transitioning to the next life. And I did just that. As soon as my dad passed away, not long after that, I went to check out Himalayan Yoga Institute. That was the first place I had checked out. It was the difference between yoga. Did I want to be trained in vinyasa or hatha yoga? And I thought I wanted to be a vinyasa yoga teacher. You can pretty much teach yoga no matter which one you have. But I'm glad that I waited. And I feel like things happen for a reason, even my dad's death. So I ended up going to Himalayan to take a class. And I fell in love with their place. It's like an old mansion, a lot of history there. Oh my gosh. And so much philosophy, so much inside those walls of all these, yogi practitioners and all the, yogis before us that have been there. It's been there since 74, I believe, which is the year I was born. So I find numerology to be cool. So I said, I've got to go there. And I did. I took my training there. Yoga's helped me tremendously cope with anxiety, depression, things that I got, which came from the Marina, which is an IUD. And I'll get into that in another video. A lot of this is just catching up and trying to figure out where to carry on with the videos, mainly, like I said, to inspire others. It's a struggle every day. Life is a struggle every day. How do we want to overcome those struggles? We can let them weigh us down. We can fall into feeling sorry for ourselves. We can, whatever we need to do. But in reality, we want to come out of that. We want to, and by whatever means necessary. For a long time, I took medications, and I needed those medications. So I'm not downing medications, even though I'm a lot of natural now, more holistic. And I'll get into more of that in other videos. So we have to find, what is going to help us. And I think people shouldn't be, even though it's a hard subject, people shouldn't feel fearful of seeing a therapist or taking an antidepressant or something to calm your nerves, whether it's Valium, Prozac, Xanax, whatever all the different drugs are. I took those drugs. I needed those drugs, and I took them. And they helped me survive until I found natural methods that, came up under those drugs. And when the natural methods began to help, I started shedding the drugs. And as long as I stayed where I was, maybe a little fall, but I kept coming up, and I could just shed more of the shit that I didn't need. And still today, I continue that. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'm still working on a lot of that Reiki to kind of strengthen my Reiki so that I could then, give it to the world or help others with it, I hope. Some of that I feel like I'm just not ready to do yet because I need to be strong enough with it before I give it to others. So that's a little bit more into my story. I just want to keep coming on here and updating my videos and trying to stay on track until I get up to maybe where I am today, which is going to take quite a few videos. But I think there's a lot of people out there that need this kind of support. They need to see that other people have gone through it, are going through it, and what their outcomes are, that, there is hope, that things will get better if you want it. And whatever you need to get there, take that good positive help. Like I said, whether it's drugs, therapists, friends, social groups, support groups, a physical activity. I do believe in it all, and I believe it takes more than one thing. That's another huge thing. Some of the books I read, like by Nikki Myers, she was the founder of the Y12SR, which is yoga with 12-step. So when she was going through her dark times, which were drugs and all kinds of things, you really want to look up on some of these people that I'm talking about stories. And I don't know how to put much under here, but Nikki Myers, if you look up y12sr.com, you can read about her and see her. Tommy Rosen, he's Recovery 2.0. You can just Google them and find them. But they talk about it wasn't just one thing that helped them. For me, I bounce between yoga, Pilates. I see a therapist whenever I still need to. I have a therapist I go see. I don't rely much on the medications I was taking. I'm really not taking them now, but for a while I was relying on them when I needed them. So it might take more than one thing, and try to make it something that's natural, holistic, a therapist, some kind of support group, things like that. Not drinking. Sadly, a lot of us fall to that because they're things that make us feel better in that moment. But once those things start to not help making us feel better, we go to deeper, darker things, and that turns into drugs. Those turn into addictions, and they're not positive addictions. Being a yoga addict is such a positive addiction in my book. I turn to yoga all the time, whether it's, stopping and just laying on my mat and doing a little yoga, or going to bed at night, turning the lights down low, playing calming music, and stretching in my bed. Those things help me to recover. They help my body to release toxins and also release the feel-good hormone that help heal the body. So enough of that for now. I will still come back on and do some more videos. Again, these are going to be very real, very raw. I'm not editing my videos. I have no transcript. I've written nothing. It's coming from the heart, which is where everything I do comes from. With compassion, with emotion. I think I've cried on every video. All 3, all 4. I'll probably cry in every video. So people see me as this hard ass. I'm an Aries, and I am. I do take control of things. But I also have a very huge heart. It's not really black like I claim it to be. It's actually very caring, giving, compassionate, and I want to help others because I was at a place where I was begging for help. I didn't want to feel the way I felt. So I'm going to continue to come on here and share my life with you, my journey, where I am at today, where I've been, and where I plan on going. So all I can say is keep doing what you're doing. And if you feel it's not working, reach out. Self-advocate. I can't explain how much you need to self-advocate. Don't expect someone else to do it for you. Don't expect your doctor to do it for you. If something's not working, reach out, connect, contact, look up on YouTube videos, talk to others, join Facebook forums. Oh my God, I love Facebook forums, and sometimes I hate them. Sometimes there's a lot of information I really don't want to see. So you have to pick and choose. You have to be able to move past some things. Take in what you need, leave what you don't. That's a lot of times what I teach in a class. Take what you need, leave what you don't need. You don't have to take it all. You don't have to leave it all. So we have to learn to self-advocate. And that is a challenging thing to do, and I'm learning to do that over this probably last year or 2. And I will keep sharing. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. This is Friday, October 23rd, and I will talk with you all soon. Bye.